Why are these zombies giving me shit?
They must think you're human now. Fascinating.
What's up, everybody? It's me, your favorite little games journalist in the whole wide world, Ren, with 2 IGNs. And after the initial release of Dead Rising 4 back in December of 2016, fans of the franchise had a lot to be upset about, such as the desecration of Frank West's character,
I love mini golf.
the complete disregard for fan-favorite gameplay staples, such as the psychopaths and the timer, jokes that didn't land very well, and gameplay that offered absolutely no challenge. This was of course all due in part to the fact that Dead Rising 4 was developed in just 1 year. But I'm happy to say that over the course of 2017, all of that has changed. All of the game's issues have recently been fixed up and perfected, thanks to the magnificent DLC that Capcom Vancouver has so graciously created for us. So after downloading a small and brisk 45GB update, you'll find that the game is now essentially bug-free, and that they patched in funnier jokes. In this review, I'll be taking you through all 3 of Dead Rising 4's DLCs. Frank Rising picks up right where the base game left off, with Frank West as a zombie, who is now tasked with finding a cure for his zombieism, as well as simultaneously preventing Willamette from being bombed. And he has to do all of this within a measly hour and a half. And hey, they added in a timer just like we all wanted. Isn't that great? The folks over at Capcom Vancouver made a lot of really smart design decisions with this DLC, such as reusing all of the base game's map, assets, and textures, while also not adding in any new assets, textures, or map locations to Willamette. They also decided to give all of the zombies the same exact character model as a genius way of saving internal memory. And the AI is much more robust now, as they only throw grenades at themselves some of the time, as opposed to all of the time. But the smartest thing Capcom Vancouver did with this DLC was take away all of the game's mechanics that players have become familiar with over the past year, such as crafting weapons, driving vehicles, scavenging for materials, and mashing the X button to defeat massive hordes of zombies. They replaced all of that with an even more basic combat system, which has you mashing the X button to defeat massive hordes of zombies. In addition to the X button, you are given 3 other moves to play around with, like the spit move, the pounce move, and my personal favorite, the howl move. However, the pounce ability is incredibly finicky and frequently seemed to have issues locking onto enemies like it was supposed to. I found myself fiddling around with this move a lot. I was really struggling to get it to work in almost every situation. Furthermore, the character movement feels incredibly stiff, imprecise, and delayed, but that lends itself perfectly to the fact that Frank West is now a zombie. You gotta give Capcom kudos for intentionally hindering the player's movement for that extra bit of immersion. You genuinely feel like you're controlling a zombie, and that's clearly by design. They've also upped the ante in terms of horror, by implementing zombies that are able to phase into our dimension at any given time, and grab you from out of thin air. So spooky. They also added in a bunch of fun little side activities for you to complete, which upgrade your character. None of them take more than 90 seconds to finish, and they do very little to change up the moment-to-moment gameplay. However, completing side activities to earn new abilities is more interesting than simply gathering experience points, even if some of these challenges are incredibly difficult to complete. Upon starting them, they sometimes force you to hover in the air, and don't allow you to move your character, making me wonder if there's some password I missed earlier on that'll unlock the ability to move my character. This happenstance is definitely my fault, and not Capcom's. Please keep in mind that this game is flawless. But in the event that you aren't able to enter the password in time, they balance this out by making you invincible. So it's okay. We have as long as we need to figure out that password. We're only just losing precious seconds from our very limited amount of time. But I like a good puzzle. Overall, Frank Rising is an incredibly repetitive and mind-numbing affair that beyond a couple of new moves, doesn't offer up anything new to the table. However, I found a huge comfort within its repetition, and continued to play through it again and again, just to see an alternate 20-second ending cutscene that I didn't know how to find on YouTube. I don't know about you, but when I think of Dead Rising, I think of mini-golf. The Super Ultra Dead Rising 4 Mini-Golf DLC implements a much-needed golfing minigame into Dead Rising 4, which of course also supports multiplayer, so you can play golf with your friends. And in the event that you don't have any friends online, well, luckily this game still has a thriving player population, so you'll be able to find a match in no time. The mini-golf game type offers incredibly deep, dynamic, and nuanced gameplay that'll take hours of practice if you're looking to become Willamette's very own Tiger Woods. Gameplay doesn't get much more complex than this these days. You simply hit the A button when that bar reaches the top of the meter, and hit A again when the bar touches the green at the bottom of the meter. Sometimes, when you press the A button, it doesn't register your input right away, which means there's a little bit of a delay when pushing the button, which results in you missing some of your shots. Now, I can see some people getting slightly bothered by that, but not me. I felt like it added an additional challenge to the overall experience, and I still had a ton of fun with the game mode regardless, since it worked about half the time. They also implemented a progression system into the minigolf game type, so while you're golfing, you earn currency by killing zombies, and picking up currency with the golf ball. You can then use that currency to purchase bigger and better golf clubs. Upgrading your clubs offers a genuine feeling of pride and accomplishment. I'm more proud of my level 2 clubs than I am of my 5-year-old son, because I actually earned those clubs through hard work and dedication, unlike my worthless child who I wasn't even trying to have in the first place. Super Ultra Dead Rising 4 Minigolf DLC was a stroke of genius. And lastly, there's the Capcom Heroes mode, which allows you to just play through the entire base game again, but this time you get to do it with different costumes on. More of the same exact campaign is definitely what the fans wanted, since this game type essentially removes even more depth from a game that already removed a lot of depth from the earlier games in the franchise. You're no longer able to pick up weapons off the ground, because they just appear out of thin air whenever you press the attack button. This also means you don't have to waste time combining weapons together, meaning that you can now more easily get to the meat of this game, which is of course mashing that X button to kill hordes of zombies. Nothing more, nothing less. Dead Rising 4 is beyond simplistic, which is all we could ask for from a video game. In fact, I'd prefer it if this game just played itself for me. Much like my favorite video game of all time, Life is Strange. That game is hella smoke, dope, and ill. Before I forget, I'd like to mention that they also implemented 2 new difficulty modes into the game, and boy do they make things hard. The Blackest Christmas difficulty reaches Dark Souls levels of difficulty, in the sense that it's incredibly unfair and unrealistically challenging. So much so that it made me want to punch my mom. Enemies kill you in very few hits, while also stun-locking you, removing your ability to dodge out of the way. The Blackest Christmas difficulty makes the game far too hard, and really makes the game no fun to play. But I'm willing to admit, however, that I may be the problem in this case, since all of us games journalists here at IGN, and all other news outlets for that matter, are just terrible at video games. But we're great at writing. If you're looking to improve your backswing, get lost in the most immersive story ever told in video games, or if you're looking to replay a game that you already played through before, but this time with even less depth and replayability in it, then I strongly urge you to pick up Dead Rising 4's Season Pass. You won't be sorry. This video wouldn't have been possible without my patrons, who helped me pay for the Season Pass to this game and helped me continue to be able to feed my dog and keep her alive. Big shoutouts to Mike, Pacific the Casual Gamer, Eric, and Cody. I sincerely hope more of you will consider becoming a patron, because ever since Naomi Kyle left our office, we need some serious cash to pay for a new model that'll hold a controller for our thumbnails. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna go set fire to the inside of Machinima's office, regardless of whether or not there are still employees inside the building. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.